Hey, 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 Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. A little bit late with the Thrive Challenge. I actually did the Better Life portion of it earlier today, geez, before noon. But then I did a live webinar and I got sidetracked. Imagine that, sidetracked. Me, sidetracked. Can't believe that would happen to me. Can't believe that would happen to any of us. Well, I did, and I forgot to record my live video of my homework for our 30-day challenge. It's day 6, and today, Dean Graziosi challenge us to do something that many of us have heard of, but not everybody. And that's the topic of we are the average of the 5 people we hang around with the most, or we spend the most time with. Now, if you think about the 5 people, or maybe 6 if you want to cut it in half and then figure out that you're right in the middle of it, or you're the average of the people you hang around with, that might be easier to think about. But think about times in your past. If you don't want to think about right now, think about times in your past. Say back when you were in high school or when you were in college. Think about the 5 or 6 people that you hung around with and the results they were getting and the results you were getting. Now, I will admit that in college, my first year or so, I hung around with fun, partying kids, and my grades reflected that. And then a few years into college, I got a little more serious, and I started hanging around with kids, and we did study groups and things like that, and then my grades reflected that, and I was getting straight A's. Now, is that a coincidence, or was that me actually behaving in ways like the 5 people I hung around with the most? I think that it was who I was hanging around with was having a huge impact on me. And it works the same way throughout our entire lives. As we get older, you know, if we're not liking the results we're seeing in our lives, take a look around. What are we being influenced by? Who are we being influenced by? And if they're not influencing us in the way that's in our best interests, then we need to make some choices and some changes. So that's the thing today to think about is, are the people that you're surrounding yourselves with, or yourself with, the best people for you to help you achieve your goals and objectives and to get whatever it is that you want in life? I learned a technique from the book Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill that's really awesome. And it kind of covers this because you might be thinking, well, you know, my family are who I'm hanging out with the most, and they're all like pretty dang negative. That's true for a lot of us. We end up in a negative environment, and part of it is because we created that. We helped to create that negative environment. I know when there's stress and tension in my household, it's usually because I, at some level, am feeling stress and tension, and then it just kind of spreads throughout the whole family. But the trick that Napoleon Hill taught, or the technique, I guess it's not really a trick, but the strategy he used, was he created his own like mastermind, an invisible, what kind of imaginary mastermind of influential people and people whose characteristics he wanted to achieve in his life. So he, for example, had Abraham Lincoln, Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and people like that on his personal, he called it his invisible council. And he had those people and a whole lot more on his invisible council. And whenever he needed to make a decision or think about something or make a choice, he would, or when he wanted to develop characteristics, say, for example, honesty, like Abraham Lincoln, he would call upon that group and meet with his invisible council. And so I actually do that. I don't know if I should be admitting that, but I actually have my own invisible council. And it works really well if you find yourself surrounded with people that aren't necessarily exhibiting the characteristics that you want to have appear in your life. So if I'm hanging around a lot of sick, depressed people, I call upon my invisible counsel to help me keep my thinking and my mindset the way I want it to be. So you can always use the invisible counsel strategy if you can't immediately find people that you want to hang around with that are giving you the positive energy and the behaviors and habits that you want to have in your life. Another thing you can do is read good books. Read biographies and stories about people that have the characteristics or the success that you want to have. Listen to webinars. Go watch YouTube videos. We have so many resources available to us nowadays that weren't available even 10 years ago to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with the kind of thinking that we want that is positive and encouraging and motivating and moves us toward what we want in our life. So that's it for today. I took a long time, but I talked a long time, so I hope that's all right. I will see you tomorrow with day 7. Going to see my grandma. She's 98, so it might be another late day. I was thinking I'd be earlier, but it actually might be later again tomorrow. But that just keeps you on your toes. Go out, make it an awesome day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Who you hanging out with? Okay, I can't